Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. We meet again, peeplings, earthlings. And this video is all about Harry. It's a puff piece. Not written by Meghan, I don't think. I'm pretty sure it's nothing to do with Meghan. And it's all about how Harry's feeling right now. It's like his friends say type article, but it's clearly Harry who has asked his friends to do this, to let all of us know how he's feeling the night before his security hearing. Well, I'll read the whole thing out because it's quite long as well, and there's a lot in there. And as usual, Brain of Britain Windsor's gone and dropped a few little nuggets in his puff piece, which I think you'll all find quite interesting. Diddums basically wants us all to know, what a bad time he's having. It sounds like he's curled up in bed, crying his little eyes out, because the world's just been awful to him, hasn't it? It's not him who's done this. It's not him who's been full of arrogance. Shall we get on with it? It's in Hello magazine, came out an hour ago, and I'll even tell you who wrote it. No, Putty, you can wait there just for a minute. It's written by someone called Emily Nash, Royal Editor, London. And it is headlined, Reeling Prince Harry Left Distraught by Latest Dispute, Exclusive. The Duke of Sussex resigned from Sentebale amid leadership row. It is arguably one of the most challenging periods the Duke of Sussex has faced since his departure from the UK. Left reeling by the extraordinary dispute that led to his resignation from Sentebale, the charity he founded in memory of his mother, Diana, Princess of Wales, Prince Harry now faces a battle for his security in the UK. Now just pause there, because whatever happens tomorrow, and I think it might even run to 2 days, I don't know. And I don't think he even has to turn up. Whatever happens tomorrow, he's going to lose. If he loses his security, he's lost it. And I mean, I believe his money's run out. He can't afford the security himself. The excuse that I saw in a previous puff piece, why he doesn't like the idea that if he were to come to the UK, they would deal with his security on an as and when basis, is that he would have to give lots of notice. And then he believes that royal households would leak the details. Me personally, Harry, I'm pretty sure your wife's the leak. Just don't tell her anything and you'll be just fine. Because I think your family are really busy with engagements, getting on with their lives, dealing with their own families and health issues. I really don't think they give a toss to be leaking anything. Those days have gone. You're not that type of headline anymore. But if he loses his security tomorrow, and I don't think that the Court of Appeal's going to rule in his favour. If they do, then this is another wanker Warby situation. But if they do give him back his security, well, he's lost. He's certainly going to lose the court of public opinion, isn't he? Because how are all the taxpayers going to feel about that? It's a lose-lose situation from what I can see. And it making a big hullabaloo like this in public. He could have kept it quiet and he could have kept it private. Oh yeah, and he mentioned Scotty's little soldiers or heroes, whatever it is. Oh yeah, that crops up in here because all of a sudden, he gives a toss. Oh really? Interesting, isn't it? His lawyers return to the Court of Appeal this week, so it doesn't sound like he's going. His lawyers are going to return in an attempt to have the protection arrangements he enjoyed as a working royal reinstated to cover him when he is in the country. And the outcome could prove to be a make or break moment for the Duke's future plans. As I say, I suspect he's broke from having to pay for it himself all these years. I mean, he should have fucking thought about all this before blouncing out in a tantrum. Meanwhile, on the same day his case opens, his wife, the Duchess, will launch a new podcast, Confessions of a Female Founder. Produced by Lemonada Media, it arrives less than a week after she released a limited batch of her As Ever products that sold out in under 1 hour. But as Meghan's commercial career takes off, Prince Harry finds himself on a different path, suddenly fighting to protect his legacy as well as his future as a philanthropist. I think this is written by Harry and his mates. And it's not the mate he went to before who just made matters 100 times worse by saying Dr. Sophie was pulling the race card. No, I mean, of all the people, he should never have called up Lord Pisspot and said, oh, do us a favour, can you get me out of shit? Because the guy just made it even worse. For the past fortnight, he has been at the centre of an astonishing crisis at Sentebale, the charity he set up nearly 2 decades ago after being moved to act by helping care for young HIV/AIDS orphans during a life-changing gap year, a stay in the African kingdom of Lesotho. Crisis of confidence. Harry served as co-founder and patron with Prince Seeiso of Lesotho until last month, when both resigned in solidarity with the Board of Trustees after losing confidence in the chair, Dr. Sophie Chandorka, who has refused to stand down. She in turn has hit back in a series of interviews accusing the Duke and former trustees of harassment and bullying at scale. She also claims that she experienced disrespect, bullying and intimidation, misogyny and misogynoir in her role, all of which has been strongly denied by the other side. Last week, both sides welcomed the Charity Commission's confirmation that it had opened a regulatory compliance case into Sentebale. As patron, Prince Harry does not share the legal responsibilities of trustees, but the Commission will look at claims by Sophie that having trustees who are friends of the Duke affected decision-making and future planning. In a statement, Prince Harry said it had been heartbreaking to witness what had happened, adding, no one suffers more than the beneficiaries of Sentebale itself. Well, maybe you should have stayed and fought for them then, Harry. Describing his relief that of the former trustees, that a robust inquiry was taking place, he added, we fully expect it will unveil the truth that collectively forced us to resign. I think it might pull out some inconvenient truths, Harry, and some home truths. We can only hope. Now, this is his mate. This is sort of how Harry's feeling. The rug has been pulled from underneath him, a long-term friend of the Duke tells Hello. He's distraught. He's just absolutely reeling. It's difficult for him to put into words. Grow up, Harry. How manly. Harry last visited Lesotho in October last year. Yeah, after being asked by Dr. Sophie, after being absent for about 5 or 6 years. So he gave that much of a crap. 20 years after his first trip there, when he was so moved by the plight of the country's children that he set up the charity and took part in regular polo music fundraisers for us. Another quote from his mate. Sentebale is the absolute beating heart of where Harry's mission in life started, adds the friend. This was his first ever project. This was his baby. This is the one that he has stood up for time and time and time again. I think the royal family set it up for him. Yeah, it was one of those things, wasn't it? The Duke is understood to be in a state of disbelief over what has happened, but, says the friend, Harry is supremely confident that all of these baseless allegations will eventually fall by the wayside, as they are one by one proven to be untrue. He welcomes the Charities Commission's investigation. He stands by his trustees. Well, I don't doubt he believes that, because that's his level of intelligence. You know, I've met people like this. I've come across people who've wanted to take other people to court, and in the box where it says provide evidence, they've actually written too much to mention. Like, the court's just going to take my word for it. They're just going to side with me. But if you need me to bring some evidence, then there's loads, then I'll bring it. You know, I mean, a lot of these people are going to land with a bump when they get into court, aren't they? Fucking hell. It goes on, it's quite long. But more than anything, he's just so saddened and disappointed. Hello understands that old friends have been reaching out to offer the Duke support, as has Prince Seeiso. He knows that Harry's the one who has always carried this, and he's the one who's copping all the flack. He thinks how unfair that is, a source says. life is just so unfair, isn't it? You know, he had all that security, castles and everything. If only his wife could have got on with the job and got on with people who work in the palaces and got on with the royal family and got on with, well, just fucking anybody. Needing a purpose. The hugely troubling row comes at a difficult moment for Harry, who wants to become more involved in his charitable work as Meghan moves fully into her business career. Quote, he's happiest with a mission, with a cause, whether it be Invictus, walking with the wounded, Centre Bali, that's what he loves doing, a friend says. For him to further that career away from Meghan is actually a really happy place for him. Whoa, wait a minute. Did you all get that? For him to further that career away from Meghan is actually a really happy place for him. Maybe Lord Pisspot did write this after all. So he's happier away from her. There you go, guys. How many fucking months, years have I said this? How would any of you like to live with her? He can go and not have to worry about her, not have to worry about everything, like her eternal list of complaints, I suppose. He can just be him. Well, now isn't that extraordinary? He can just be him. So he's happier being away from Meghan. Well, me and Graham, I mean, we were always happier together. When you're with a partner, you either work in different places or the same place, or maybe one works, the other doesn't work. But I mean, that is the whole point of being together, is that when you finish work, that's the person you want to go and be with. I don't think I ever thought to myself, oh, I need a distraction. I need to get away from Graham. And I'm certain he never felt like that, because he would have gone to be somewhere else. So it's official. This is Harry's mate saying he wants a career to get away from her, and he's happier with her. And it gets even more interesting. Really, it does. His children are now both at school, so he's thinking, I've got a little bit of time now. Which of my projects, old, new or future, am I going to be able to give some time to? So his children are at school, so now he's got time on his hands. So he was the home husband. He was the primary carer. So there's another nugget, isn't there? He wants to be away from Meghan because he's happier being away from Meghan. And now the children are both in school. He's got time on his hands. So wasn't exactly a working dad, was he? He would want Centre Bali to be right up there. Is that because Lesotho's very, very far away from Meghan and he'd be a lot happier? Perhaps that was an escape route and Dr. Sophie thwarted his cunning plan. For Harry, this week's Court of Appeal challenge is about his safety and that of his family while they're in the UK. A friend tells Hello, it's important to him that his kids are able to visit and have happy memories in the UK, but their safety is obviously his main priority. Now, I can hear a lot of you saying already, you know, he has been offered safety on an as and when basis. Or, I mean, if he were to stay in royal property, he'd automatically be protected because it's they're fortified addresses. But no, he thinks that someone will ring the press because his movements are so scintillatingly fascinating. Yeah, it gets even more interesting. Spending more time here might eventually help to restore relations with his estranged father, the king, but he also wants to be able to return to support his remaining patronages, Wellchild, Scotty's Little Soldiers, and the Invictus Games. So let's go to the beginning of that paragraph. Spending more time here. So he wants to spend more time in the UK when Meghan's clearly said she never wants to set foot again in the UK. And he enjoys time away from her. Can anyone else see what I'm seeing? Quote, he's committed to supporting his UK charities, but can't do that unless it's safe for him and everyone involved. That's why we only see him for a day here or there at a time, says a friend. Oh, I suppose Big Bad Fiona had to go to little mates at Scotty's Little Soldiers, did I, Harry? Did I? Would you like everybody a big spotlight on that? And how those people have behaved with the trolls? This is another charity of yours. Would you like that spotlight? So you've got to make sure all your little mates are safe from Big Bad Fiona who might come after them. Oh, grow up, Windsor. Grow up, man up. Take your skirt off. Put a pair of trousers on. Well, Child's chief executive Matt James tells Hello, there is no doubt that having greater time with the Duke face to face would have a material impact on us being able to achieve the things we want to achieve. So he's been letting them down, has he, in other words, all these years? Nikki Scott, who founded Scotty's Little Soldiers to support children who have experienced the death of a parent, who have served in the UK Armed Forces following the loss of her husband, Corporal Lee Scott, in Afghanistan in 2009, agrees. Having the Duke attend an event in person means the world to members of Scotties. Oh, I bet. I can think of at least one. Go and go crying to him like a little bitch. See if she can get me suspended off Twitter. I'm out of Twitter prison now. It's all right, everybody. Everyone can calm down. Yeah, she can go moan like a little bitch. Because he's a prince. You know, rules don't apply to him. He can just send an email, get things fixed, you know. Where one rule applies to everyone else, it's a completely different one with him and his mates. They know he understands them, she says. If he was able to come to the UK more, it would make a massive difference to us. Crucial moment. A great deal hinges, therefore, on the outcome of this week's hearing, part of which will be held in private, and for Harry, whom friends say has been dealt the lowest of blows so recently, it seems the stakes couldn't be higher. Harry's departure from Sentibali is not just the end of a chapter, it feels like a quiet surrender of purpose, PR expert Mark Borkowski says. Sentibali was rooted in real emotion, a deeply personal continuation of his mother's humanitarian spirit, forged before the Hollywood handlers. Before the Hollywood handlers. Interesting, isn't it? Who's the Hollywood handlers? Because I haven't seen any A-listers want anything to do with him and Meghan. I mean, the only term I've heard it is the handler and the hostage. So this is Harry's puff piece, written by Harry's friends. Sentibali was rooted in real emotion, a deeply personal continuation of his mother's humanitarian spirit, forged before the Hollywood handlers. So he's happier away from Meghan. Kids are in school. He's looking for something to do. And he wants to go back to something before the Hollywood handlers. None of this bodes very well, does it? I think the writing's been on the wall for quite some time. He adds of the Sussexes. Together, they once shook up the monarchy. Now one is building a brand, the other is losing his. Ooh. Talk about capitulation. So they're not going to bring down the monarchy. That was their intention, to shake the monarchy. And they put it through a bit of a ringer and an uncomfortable time. But they've given up that. Given up that hobby. And she's just, that never happened. And she's off making her brand and he's losing his. Friends of Prince Harry, however, say there is hope that he will eventually be able to return to Sentibali once the situation has been resolved, with one telling Hello, he is very confident his charity will remain strong. Now, I hope it does. I hope all the charities remain strong. Just be nice if they could remove people who like to troll on X and behave extremely badly and support and participate in fake porn, etc., threatening people, laughing at illness. I mean, so that's a right little pity fest, isn't it? Poor little boo-boo. He's all wrapped up in his duvet, floods of tears. Like I say, put your fucking trousers on, Windsor. So I don't think you'll see him in court this week. I mean, he might suddenly turn up. He's looking for a way to get away from her. He's looking for a way to come back to the UK. He wants to go down the pub with Lord Pisspot and his other mates and get pissed. He wants to be able to crawl back into the castles and get security and stuff. But he doesn't want to admit that he was wrong and everyone else, the entire planet, and his family were right that she was trouble. Doesn't want to admit that. It's a big climb down. Can't say I blame him, actually. It is a big climb down, isn't it? I mean, the guy's literally she has destroyed his entire life. It's in shreds, it's in tatters. And it can only get worse. I mean, if he thinks, do you remember when they used to moan and say that all the headlines were really negative against them? Well, I mean, from where I was sitting, they were positively arse-licking Harry and Meghan. But it wasn't good enough. And I remember thinking back in those days, my God, you want to really be on the receiving end of bad stories in the newspapers. You're complaining and suing about what now? Well, it's going to get worse. But it's clear. He wants outsies, but what he's looking for is a way of doing it and saving face. And I suppose, oh, my UK patronages need me. I'd love to stay with my wife. We're so in love. But the UK is caught, he's going to try going down that road, isn't he? I'm sure whatever ploy he comes up with will be so obvious to everybody. It'll be like one of Baldrick's cunning plans, won't it? Well, I thought you might enjoy that one. So you can all spare a thought for little Sparry tonight, yeah? And we shall see what the decision is tomorrow. What I will say about the Court of Appeal is they do tend to have it on YouTube. So once you know the courtroom, because each courtroom in the Court of Appeal has its own YouTube channel. Once we know the number of the courtroom, then you should be able to watch it live on YouTube. And if you can't watch it live, you can watch it on playback. I'm not sure they have live chat. And I don't think the judges generally go, don't forget to like and subscribe or anything. I don't think any of that shit happens. But I have watched the odd Court of Appeal. Obviously, I watched the one with Warby, and I watched one years ago during the Brexit referendum. And they do go into, some of the judges, they go into great detail as to the reasoning behind their decision. Personally, I think it's unlikely he's going to win, because he'd have to win on a point of law, or there might have to have been some sort of material change. And I'm not sure a 2-mile-an-hour catastrophic car chase in New York a couple of years ago is going to cut the mustard. I think an awful lot of water has gone on under the bridge. But it does seem clear to me that Harry would like to go back to the UK and get the fuck away from Meghan. But you tell me in the comments below. I mean, that's what that sounds like to me. Sorry. Sorry to laugh as well. Thank you very much for listening.